Hey there, hope you're doing good. As we continue refactoring Futurecam, let's try to eliminate some forwarding functions from camera. So originally camera was intended to be a facade, which is a class that wraps an entire subsystem, which is the iOS camera APIs. But that didn't work out. So many classes use the iOS APIs directly without going through camera. So now we want to move some of the functionality away from camera, which had become like a huge dumping ground. For example, this function merely forwards to device. So can whoever is calling this call the device directly? We do have a device here. Do we have a mode? Exposure is the argument. Oh, it's called correct exposure. Yeah, this is an unrelated fix. We defined this subclass but forgot to instantiate it, which you could say is a dumb thing, but yeah, it's a silly mistake. The second change is in frame producer, instead of camera dot whatever, you're calling this. Okay, cool. And then in camera, we can delete this. There's only a verification. Other than that, it's a pass through. And the verification is not worth the complexity. Okay. Then there's correct exposure. Oh, there's also low noise settings. Okay, great. Let's figure out who calls that. This calls device.low noise settings. This calls camera.low settings. Okay. So you have the type of the mode. This is in the device. Okay, cool. This is actual implementation which we'll keep. This also is in the device which we'll keep. So when we call device.low noise settings, instead we can call, oh, it's in the same class, so we can just do this. We have just inlined the implementation, if you will. though it's not much of an implementation, it just calls one function. So we've removed low noise settings without an argument, and exposure, duration, and ISO from exposure. And we have replaced it with its implementation. Ideally it should go to mode, but that's okay. We'll do this change one step at a time. Cool. Now we need to look at this thing called correct exposure. So all of these forwarding functions can be removed. Oh, this is an argument. And this is doing something with the argument. Yes, we are calling device.correct exposure here. These are all calculations based on the local variables. Is zoomed out, can move to the device. Oh, it's key value observing. Never mind. Yeah, this function can be inlined. I think there's just one call site. Which is the mode which has access to the delegate and these objects and everything. We have a delegate here. We have a video data output and a photo output, so everything is in place. Yes, this can be eliminated. This is the AV capture device version. So one of the problems with this change I've just made is that the main controller has access to the device. Earlier it was only the camera. This can be committed. Oh, I can't stage just these lines. Okay, let's think about it. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. We'll do this in a future commit. Because or does the main controller already have lot of device references? No, this is a static one. Here we are accessing. This is a different one. Selected camera. Yeah, there aren't many references in main controller. So I'm not convinced about this yet. Maybe we'll do it in the future. The one change we should make is remove add photo or video output. We have removed this. So this is the only change. Okay, what else can we get rid of here? Camera change was the one we reverted, I think. Okay, never mind. Can we move this to the mode class, because there is some specific code here that is that kind of depends on a particular mode. Oh, this global current mode should be removed. It's a global variable. Sheesh. Now, this is very tricky. It looks straightforward, but there are a bunch of cases you need to think about. Can we do this? When we add a device, we should use this. So I think this can be moved into session. Oh, this can be moved into the if as well. Because if this path is not taken, you're unnecessarily locking and unlocking the device. I'm just wondering why. Oh, this is bad. We are locking the old device, but calling this on the new device. I think it should be different. Yeah, so let's try adding this to session dot add input. Better session. So actually this can be inlined, I guess. So you're just checking if it already exists. But this will take care of that. It's an unnecessary check. Now this helper can be removed. We added it because it had a return statement, so you can't naively copy paste that, because that will return from the outer function if you naively copy paste. Where is this device coming from? Okay, fine. Oh, so in one case we are calling stop running and then start running. In the other case we are calling begin and commit configuration. Add output. So basically, if you are adding a video data output, it ensures that it is in the full resolution format. But when you add so the thing is that the format is set on the input, not the output. And you don't need to do that when you add a video data output. Or if you later switch to another camera, like from wide to tele, you again have to set tele to this format. Oops. To help both the compiler and readers understand that this is not the body of the if statement, this is a closure within this function. If outputs contains a video data output, then you have to set the full res format. You're setting a new device which represents as a new input. So it should be input. It's always a device input. We don't need this. It's easier to understand now. Let's look at the diffs. Yes, this will always work. So when you are adding an input, let's look at the remote code from camera. Here when you are setting a device, which is a camera, you are locking it, and if it contains a video data output, then you are setting full res format. Of course, the try and differ can go inside, but that should be taken care of by the session. The idea is to move as much logic as possible into the session. So here what are you doing? If the outputs contains a video data output, yeah, where are you calling it on the session? Add input. Okay, never mind. You are locking the new device, then setting the folders format and unlocking it. And then we have inlined the small function. I mean, if you're not locking the session, that's a problem that would occur independent of this code. So from the point of view of this refactoring, we don't need to think about it. And anyway, here are you locking the session? Oh, I think there's a problem here, which is if you're adding an output, you are taking care to either call stop running or begin and commit configuration. But for add input, we are not taking care of that. We should work on that. Add output helper has been inlined here. Oh, this verification will fail if it already exists. Okay, never mind. Yeah, we can just delete this verification. That's the easier fix because it never triggers as far as I remember. And this verification will succeed either way. Either it got added just now or it's already there and the add was a no op. So yeah, so basically the problem is in add output we are locking, in add input we are not. So we will just put it to 2. We can worry about that later on. So again, I think we lost track of the purpose of this refactoring, I guess. So one is we have inlined this thing, this helper function, which is good. The other thing is we have made add input smarter by ensuring that if we are using a video data output, then you are setting a full res format. So basically, whether you switch to video data output first and then change the camera, or change the camera and then switch to video data output, the behavior should be the same, right? And this makes it easier for us to understand. So the lower levels, the smarter they are, the simpler the higher levels are in your code. Ah, 32 minutes. We should look at this in the next commit. Let's just see where we are using it. In camera changed. Okay, never mind. We'll look at this in the next video.